The Master Bomber and the entire bottom path ninja got some pretty questionable buffs, and I'm saying questionable because some of them are actually nice and make sense, but others, well, not so much. So the idea for this change is the fact that, well, whenever we would buy the bottom path ninja, so we're talking about the Flash Bomb, the Sticky, and the Master Bomber, you would usually keep them as a 103, 104, and 105, which means that you only want the extra attack speed and pretty much nothing else as long as you're going for the bottom path. So now they decided to change that, and they gave some extra damage to the entire bottom path. So let's go through the changes. So the first change, and a change that I actually think makes a lot of sense, is that the Flash Bomb's main shuriken attack deals more damage to stun balloons. So what this means is that as long as you stun a balloon with the Flash Bomb, the main attack is going to do some extra damage. It's +3, but then again, the Flash Bomb is kind of a cheap upgrade, and I actually think that this is one of those new changes, that actually makes sense. But then once you get to the Sticky Bomb, this is when I start having some questions. So the Sticky Bomb's main shuriken attack now deals more damage to sticky targets, and it's +3. And here's the problem with this thing: you can only use the Sticky Bomb onto Moab class balloons. So what this buff is essentially saying is that you're gonna throw in the Sticky Charge, which is gonna do 450 damage, and then the main shuriken is gonna do +3. So this is one of the changes that I thought it was a little bit questionable. It actually doesn't make that much sense, but I guess it's nice because it kind of transfers over to the 5th tier, to the Master Bomber as well, which does a 9 damage extra to stun balloons, 9 damage to sticky targets, which is again questionable because one sticky projectile for the Master Bomber does like 3000 damage. So you're getting +9, and then eventually, all of these things transfer over to the Paragon, which is actually really nice, I think. So essentially now what's happening is that you're incentivized to buy the Sharp Shurikens upgrade, which makes the main Shuriken attack now able to pop 4 balloons each. Now 4 balloons in total is just not like enough, so that's why I wanted to bring Geraldo for this thing. And I know that Oben is the better hero for increasing the Pierce, but I do have Oben reserved for a very special video coming out really soon. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to go with Geraldo, and then obviously let me just get the Flash Bomb, by the way, and we should start seeing the change kind of soonish. Okay, so now we should be able to see the buff. Oh yeah, look at this thing. So the lead balloon pops it. Yes, look at that. Okay, so let's watch this thing and how it works. So it stuns the balloons, and then you get the bonus damage onto these yellows, and they get one shot. And look at that. Okay, so that's the new change, and actually this is the thing that I think makes sense to buy on the Flash Bomb. And once you get to the sticky, things start to kind of get questionable. We're gonna explore it anyways. We're gonna see what happens with it. And something interesting I'm noticing is that this ninja is defending everything by itself, and I don't want to jinx it because this is round 34. We have yellow balloons and zebras as well, but look at this thing. It's just a 203 ninja and is defending basically in the entirety of these rounds by itself, which is, I think, courtesy to this buff. So you can kind of see it, although it did have the sharpening stone, which I'm going to renew, by the way. Essentially what this thing needs is it needs some extra pierce on the main attack, and then you're going to be able to see the main damage. But holy man, this is really nice versus these early rounds. And do you guys think this thing is going to handle an entire Moab by itself? Because keep in mind, previously it's going to be able to pop the Moab in like one projectile, right? But previously it was absolutely not going to be able to deal with the small balloons in the ceramics. But is that going to change in this update? I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of still holding on. Look at this thing. What is even happening? Is it going to defeat the entire round by itself? It was super close, by the way, but is it going to actually make it happen? Okay, so let's actually help it out just a tiny bit. I want to give it an Alchemist. Let's just give it like a 3. Let's keep it as a 320 for now. It does have the sharpening stone, and I'm not going to be giving it the pickles. So essentially, my goal is to see if this small 204 ninja, thanks to the new buff, is going to be able to pop an entire Moab by itself. We know the Moab layer is going to go. It's just that, is it going to pop the small balloons? That's the biggest question. So the Moab layer is going to go in like a second. And now this is the most important part. I need some stuns, and now you need to deal with everything. And is it going to one more bomb? Yes. Okay, so let me get a discount village. I'm gonna be starting, to buy up this shinobi army, but at the same time, I just want to kind of give this thing like a 420 alchemist and see how far it goes. I think it's gonna start crumbling versus these ceramics, but you know what? Let's just try it and see what round is this thing gonna lose on, because it is only +3, quote unquote, only +3 damage, but this +3 damage is making all the difference for now, it seems like. Okay, so 49, this is one of those rounds. I feel like this is getting close to, like a complete early to mid game tower, because it deals deals with everything, right? It deals with through the sticky, it deals with mob class balloons, and now with the extra damage to small balloons, you just buff it up a little bit and it just destroys everything, right? Let's just watch 49. Let's see if I'm right with this one. I mean, it's gonna need, a couple of chances to attack, so, it's not gonna work on these shorter maps, but oh my god, that was all the ceramics in 49 just evaporated. Alright, I mean, we are into the 50s, and this thing is it gonna start crumbling finally? Is it actually time when this thing actually needs a little bit of extra attack speed to deal with these guys? And I think the answer is no, and we're into the 50s, guys. Alright, so let's start buffing this thing up. I'm gonna start buying up these shinobis, and actually, how do I want to have them? Because the brew is gonna prioritize the closest target, so I maybe don't want to have an ninja there. Maybe I want to have like one shinobi over here, but all of them are going to be in the range of a discount village. Okay, so we know that we're dealing with Moab class balloons, no problem, at least the small Moabs. But are we dealing with BFBs is my question, and I really hope that these guys pop one by one, but kind of speed things up. And I think that we will pop, yes, we're absolutely going to pop all of them. I think the distraction actually from these shinobis helped out a little bit. And even though it helped out, in around 60, it might be an issue for around like this one, 61 or 79 actually, with all those regro rainbows, because if they blow them back, we might create a regro farm. But so far it seems to be doing very well, and the round that I'm excited about is around 63, so I'm just going to keep the setup like this. I'm only going to have 5 shinobis, and let's see if the stun is going to be enough. Now, I do think that we're going to lose in 63, but, it's just kind of my thought, and I'm ready to be surprised, by the way. Let me actually just give this thing the sharpening stone. It's going to be +1 pierce. I know, it's not like the the biggest thing, but I just want to have a complete setup before going into this thing. Let's see how we're going to do versus this one. They are stunning it, so they're doing a little bit of damage at the top, a little bit of damage at the back, and they are actually dealing with 63. I can't believe what's happening. Are they gonna beat the entire thing? That is my question. Because that was only round 1, and we have 3 rounds of ceramics. That's round 2, by the way. No, no jar of pickles, no slows, no anything like that. No even Jerry's fire. Yeah, they are absolutely dealing with the entirety of round 63. Wait, did I jinx it? Did I speak too soon? No, I spoke too soon, but I'm just gonna maelstrom this thing because we know it's not dealing with it, wholly with the entire round, but it is dealing with the majority of it, and I'm just super surprised and super impressed from this thing. So let's just buy the Master Bomber now, and once we get the Master Bomber, the extra damage increases as well. And look at this thing, it actually one-shots the majority of these balloons. Oh my god, this thing is gonna own so much when we buy the extra shinobis. Alright, so let's start buying them up actually. Okay, so look at this huge wave. There's a lot of balloons in here, and let's throw a flash bomb. Let's stun them, and is it gonna delete all of them? Yes, it is. We actually need to do a sharpening stone because it seems to have expired. And let me just start buying up, let's buy up one more shinobi, then we're gonna have a huge wave of ceramics on 76, and that is where we're gonna see this new Master Bomber buff. I think it's gonna be like probably one of the best rounds to check it out and see what happens. So we need the stun, and then the stun is gonna allow this thing to do some extra damage. And hold on, is this gonna... No, never mind. What am I talking about? This thing is so good. I was wrong. I thought this buff sucked. I thought it was like a useless buff, but no, it's not. It's actually kind of nice. It's actually kind of cool. Something that I forgot to mention is that the Master Bomber can now stun Moab class balloons, at least briefly, right? And so the bonus from the sticky extra damage and the stun extra damage get combined. Now that's not a lot of extra damage in total, just to be clear, especially now versus Moab class balloons. I just kind of wanted to mention that thing, and let me just... You know what? I don't even care about this alchemist anymore. Let me just keep buying up these ninjas. Let's just give this guy a bunch of attack speed. I might even give him an overclock, honestly. Okay, so while these free play rounds have been going on, I've been actually thinking how you want to combo this, and I have some towers in mind. So the first thing is that you want to get the balloon impact because this thing stuns balloons as well, and you still get the extra damage. So you don't want to, if you don't want to go for the shinobi army and kind of improve the uptime, you can just do something like that. You can also buy some other stuff like maybe the top hat sniper, the cripple moab, which is super expensive. But then also, you know what combos really well? It's the relentless glue because it does like a mini stun. So instead of talking about it, let me just buy it because, well, we're gonna need it anyways. We don't have camo in the village, so let me just give it camo, and yeah, deities are just gonna grind it down. They're gonna get slow, they're gonna get stunned by this thing. I also bought 16 shinobis, which is, I'm pretty sure, the max that I can kind of fit in this area. I mean, I tried from the sides, but there's just no range. But I still want to go really hard on the extra attack speed, so I'm gonna get an overclock engine in a second, but I do want to pay attention to around, like for example, this one, 91 and then 92 eventually. And all these huge RB rounds might be a little bit of an issue. I should also give it the sharpening stone, by the way, which is +2 pierce. This is going to improve its damage by a decent amount, I think, actually, because this thing's pierce is now just skyrocketed. We started with 4 balloons in total, the one shuriken can hit, and now we're up to, I don't want to say a number, but it might be double digits at this point. Let me actually go for the overclock. I think it's time, guys. Let's just give it even more attack speed. Let's just make this thing attack like crazy, and then it should be able to keep all these balloons in place, and it's going to gonna take a while to clean them up, but I guess that's what the new buff is gonna do. It's gonna help it out a little bit in that aspect. More DDTs. We do not have an issue with DDTs, I don't think. I think we're actually fine. And I do want to give it a little bit of extra range. So if I give this thing the Geraldo Camo Potion, it's going to give it extra range. It's going to give it extra damage to Camo Bloons as well, which is going to be DDTs. So I know that it can already see, you know, camos because it's a ninja, but this is like a nice little trick that you can do. And then obviously if you have Oben as the hero, you know, you can have Oben. You should have Oben, but you know, I think I mentioned this, but I am using Geraldo because I am saving Oben for a very, very interesting video coming really soon. But let's use the Overclock because this is round 94. This is going to be one of those tougher rounds. This might be an indicator on how, you know, not only 94, but how the entirety of the game is going to go, because 96 and 98 especially are going to be super difficult rounds. So it seems to be keeping all of these guys in place because it's attacking super fast thanks to your Overclock, but the Overclock is going to run out in a second, but it does, I don't think it's going to matter, right? I think it just dealt with everything. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright, I will absolutely take that. Let's watch the DDTs on 95. So these DDTs, you know, they are super fast, and unless you're stunning them permanently, these guys are going to slowly, you know, just like that, they're gonna slowly start making some progress towards the left side. So I'm actually gonna overclock this thing again, and let's see if we can get some permanent uptime on the stun on the DDTs, and I think we are. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, this, you know what, 16 Shinobis is amazing, but you want to kind of amp it up a little bit with like an overclock or something like that. Let's watch 96. So this is the point in the game at which the extra damage to stun Bloons actually does start mattering, because you need that extra damage so that it deals with the small Bloons, with the ceramics a little bit faster, and it kind of frees up the pierce a little bit. So I'm gonna overclock it again, and actually, you know, just the whole thing is if this tower is being able to deal with the small Bloons as fast as possible, so it frees up some pierce and then just kind of, you know, takes down the entire round by itself. Oh yeah, look at these UMGs and just all of the insides just melting. It takes a little bit of a while because there's just a lot of RB on the round, and we are essentially dealing with one tower versus this whole thing, but this one tower is a lot more better than it used to be. Alright, 98, probably the most important round, and if it beats 98, then you guys know that this is a real deal. I think that the previous one was able to beat 98 as well with all this Shinobi army and all these small helpers, but it's just gonna deal with the small Bloons a lot faster, and it's not gonna be as close as it would have been previously, right? So let me just overclock this thing. Let's just try and keep these guys in place, and let's see if we can get some pierce overloading on this round, because this round has over 300,000 RBE, which is red Bloon equivalent. So that means that if you were to spawn this entire round in red Bloons, you would need over 300,000 of them, which is just an insane number. And so that is why this new buff is going to be really important, because it's +9 damage to you can't even see what's happening, by the way, because everything is just being kept in place. But yeah, the small Bloons, as long as we're not seeing them come out, that just means that they're getting dealt with. And hold on, wait a minute, some of them are kind of starting to go through. Oh, look at this thing. All these shurikens, by the way, they're from the Master Bomber, because I don't have the shuriken on any of the small guys. Not the shurikens, but the caltrops. And yes, it dealt with 98 no problem, and that's even with the expired overclock, by the way, which I haven't used, but I think do we want to use it to 99? Let's just not use it. Let's see if it deals with the 45 ones. Is it going to? I'm ready with the overclock. I am ready. Let's just use it. No, I don't want to risk it. Let's just use it. Let's just keep these guys stunned in place. The bat should pop no problem because of the sticky projectiles. And how much damage does this thing? Yeah, it's like 3,000 damage each time this sticky projectile triggers. And we are gonna need the overclock for when it comes back. Oh, wait a minute. Is this gonna? Yes, it popped. Let me just do the overclock so we keep all these guys in place. And yes, look at this Master Bomber go. Oh my god. I mean, I'm kind of impressed by the Master Bomber, but honestly, I think that the biggest winner out of all of this is just gonna be the Flash Bomb and all these smaller tiers, because it's just like a complete tower now, right? It deals with small Bloons, it cleans them up nicely. But yeah, this is a buff that I thought was gonna be like super insignificant and just dead, you know, and just straight up bad. But I was actually wrong, and I'm kind of surprised by this tower. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one.